Have you ever looked up at the stars and wondered how love even began? Not in the era of dating apps, candlelit dinners, or text messages that end in heart emojis, but way before that. Before writing, before language as we know it, even before fire. What did it mean to fall in love when survival was the only real luxury? When the only way to say, "I care," might have been sharing your last piece of meat? Welcome to a time before fire. A time when the world was raw, untamed, and yet held a profound beauty that resonates even today in the deepest parts of our being. Imagine vast, untouched forests stretching for hundreds of miles, silent except for the rustle of unseen creatures and the whisper of the wind, winged through ancient trees. Picture towering mountains, their peaks capped with eternal snow, guardians of secrets from an age lost to written history. The air was clean, sharp, and alive with the sense of damp earth, wild herbs, and distant rain. Every sunrise was a rebirth, every sunset a canvas of fiery hues, marking the relentless rhythm of a life lived purely by the sun and moon. In this primeval tapestry, human lives were woven with threads of instinct, resilience, and an unyielding connection to the earth beneath their feet. Section 1. When the wind was Wi-Fi. Imagine a world where Wi-Fi was just the sound of wind rushing through the tall grass, where the only profile picture you had was how you looked crouched beside a fire or trying to make one, where there were no status updates, only the glint in someone's eye across a dark cave. How did people flirt without words, without poems or pickup lines? They did it through instinct, through presence, a longer than usual gaze, a shared plum or piece of honeycomb, sitting closer to someone as the temperature dropped. These weren't just random acts. They were profound statements in a world where every gesture carried immense weight. A gaze held for a moment too long might convey curiosity, recognition, or a primal stirring of connection. It was a silent invitation, a flicker of interest that cut through the harsh realities of daily existence. Imagine the quiet tension, the almost imperceptible shift in the air. When two sets of eyes met across the dim light of a shared shelter, holding that connection just a fraction longer than necessary. What untold stories, what unspoken desires might have been exchanged in that single profound moment? Have you ever caught yourself staring just a little too long? Maybe they did too, beneath the ancient moon. The moonlight, pale and ethereal, cast long, shifting shadows across the landscape, transforming the familiar into something mysterious. Under this vast, silent witness, human hearts beat with the same primal rhythms, seeking connection in the absence of spoken language. Perhaps a hand would reach out, not to grasp, but to offer a small, smooth stone, polished by countless river currents, a tiny gesture that spoke volumes about beauty recognized, about care. In a time where every meal could be your last, gifting someone food wasn't just thoughtful, it was powerful. Imagine the effort, tracking a bee colony for hours through dense woods to find that honeycomb, or carefully foraging for those ripe, sweet plums amidst thorny bushes and unseen dangers. A uniquely shaped pebble, a bright feather, or a freshly caught rabbit wasn't just a gift, it was a message. I notice you. I want you to thrive. It was a demonstration of skill, a promise of provision, and a tangible sign of valuing another's well-being above your own immediate needs. Every shared berry, every piece of smoked meat, was a testament to a growing bond, a shared future. Could you fall for someone who brought you warmth when the night froze your bones? Beyond the physical comforts, imagine the emotional warmth. A shared moment of shelter during a sudden, biting wind. The unspoken understanding when a hand reached out to steady you on a treacherous path. These small acts of care built foundations of trust and affection. And what if that person brought laughter too? Something as rare and needed as fire. In a place where shadows danced on walls and stories were passed through gestures and grunts, humor and joy were not just welcomed, they were necessary. A shared chuckle over a clumsy hunter, a playful shove, a simple smile that lightened the burden of the day. These were invaluable. Laughter was a spark of light in the constant gloom of survival, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It bound people together, dissolving fear and reminding them of the simple pleasure of companionship. Could you love someone for a way they made you feel safe and alive? The feeling of safety, not just from predators, but from the crushing weight of loneliness, was a profound gift. To feel truly alive, truly seen in a world that demanded constant vigilance, was a luxury beyond measure. Perhaps it was in these shared moments of lightness, amidst the stark reality of their existence, that the deepest connections were forged. Section 2. Beauty was survival, forget filters and gym selfies. In the Stone Age, beauty had nothing to do with symmetry or skin tone. It was about vitality, being able to gather, to hunt, to run. It was about watching someone carry a basket of roots and knowing that person can help feed our future children. This pragmatic view of attraction was woven into the very fabric of their lives. A strong, nimble body was not just aesthetically pleasing, it was a promise of continued existence, a sign of adaptability in a world that ruthlessly culled the weak. Imagine observing someone's graceful agility as they scaled a rocky outcrop to collect medicinal herbs, or their tireless endurance during a long trekking expedition. These were the true markers of desirability. Men attracted by demonstrating strength, bringing back meat, defending the tribe, or simply enduring pain. Their value was often measured by their tangible contributions to the group's survival. A successful hunt, culminating in a heavy carcass dragged back to the communal gathering spot, was a display of immense prowess. The ability to stand firm against a snarling beast, protecting the young and the vulnerable, spoke volumes of courage and loyalty. Even the stoic endurance of a wound, a silent testament to their resilience, could be a powerful draw. These were not just physical attributes. They were deeply rooted in their capacity to lead and protect. Women, by nurturing, their skill in collecting, caring, healing, and organizing what little there was, their contributions were equally vital. A woman's keen eye for edible plants, her knowledge of which roots could quell a fever, or her meticulous way of drying meat for leaner times, were skills that sustained the entire community. The gentle touch with which she cared for a sick child, or her ability to mend torn hides, transformed raw materials into life-sustaining resources. Her presence brought order and comfort to a chaotic world. It wasn't about attraction in the modern sense. It was about the ability to keep the lineage alive, Every aspect of their beauty was intertwined with their fundamental role in the propagation and protection of their small tribe. So what made someone desirable? The way they moved through the forest. Perhaps a certain rhythm in their stride, a quiet confidence in their movements that hinted at deep knowledge of the land. How they faced danger without flinching. Not just brute force, but a calm, steady gaze when confronted by the unknown. A quick decision that saved others. How they laughed around the fire. A genuine, booming laugh that echoed through the quiet night, spreading warmth and reassurance. What would you find beautiful if you had no mirrors? Would you see the lines etched around their eyes from years of squinting at the horizon? Signs of vigilance? Would you appreciate the strength in their hands, capable of shaping stone or weaving strong nets? Some say posture was everything. A confident gait meant good health, signaling vigor and resilience. Scars told stories of bravery and survival, each one a testament to battles fought and won, or dangers narrowly escaped. Teeth that could still tear meat were prized, indicating a robust constitution and a clear ability to process food. Even the calluses on hands and feet were signs of contribution, of purpose. These were not blemishes, but badges of honor, evidence of a life lived fully and purposefully, contributing to the very fabric of existence. They spoke of someone who pulled their weight, who was an active, essential part of the communal survival. Do you think you'd fall in love with someone's strength or their silence? Perhaps it was the quiet, unwavering presence, the dependable strength that didn't need to be boasted about, that truly captured hearts in a world where actions spoke louder than any words. Section 3. Where love lingered in ritual. Did Stone Age people go on dates? Not quite. But community gatherings, group hunts, water-fetching journeys, seasonal rituals, these were opportunities. Imagine the shared excitement of a successful hunt, the communal effort of butchering a large animal, or the rhythmic sounds of tools being crafted together. These weren't just chores. They were the very fabric of their social lives. When you walked beside someone, not because you had to, but because you wanted to. When you helped carry their burden, offering a hand with a heavy load of firewood or a cumbersome animal hide. When you worked side by side on crafting tools, patiently flaking stone or sharpening bone, sharing a quiet understanding as each precise movement was made. Or kept watch together as others slept, the silent vigil under the vast, star-studded sky, a shared responsibility that deepened unspoken bonds. Love, if you could call it that, grew in shared hardship. It wasn't about fleeting pleasure, but about enduring partnership. The chill of a winter night, the pangs of hunger during a lean season, the constant threat of the unknown. These were the crucibles in which true connections were forged. Witnessing someone's resilience, their unwavering spirit in the face of adversity, created a bond far stronger than any modern romantic gesture. Consider the silent understanding that developed between two people who had faced a stalking predator together, or who had persevered through days of relentless rain, finding comfort in each other's unwavering presence. Many tribal cultures we study today suggest that pairing rituals were simple. Maybe you moved your furs into their cave, a quiet, practical declaration of intent. No grand ceremonies, just the merging of two lives into one shared space, a subtle integration into a common existence. Perhaps the elder noticed you were always sitting together and nodded in approval, their unspoken blessing carrying the weight of communal acceptance. This communal recognition was crucial, as every pairing strengthened the collective unit, adding new hands, new skills, new futures to the tribe. Some tribes had dances, chants, or symbolic acts. Imagine the hypnotic rhythm of ancient drums, the haunting melody of a bone flute, as figures moved in unison under the moonlight. These weren't just performances. They were expressions of shared spirit, of collective identity, and perhaps moments where individual connections found their subtle public acknowledgement. A shared gaze across a flickering fire during such a ritual could ignite a spark, drawing two souls together in a silent, profound understanding. But the clearest sign? You stayed. You showed up. Again and again. It was the ultimate commitment, a quiet promise of continued presence, a reliable anchor in an unpredictable world. Could you fall in love without saying a single word? Maybe it started with watching each other from afar, observing their strength, their kindness, their resilience from a distance. Perhaps it took months. Maybe seasons passed. And in that slow burning patience, something profound bloomed. The passage of time itself became a testament to the growing connection, a patient unfolding of affection. Love wasn't urgent, it was steady, like the rhythm of hands on stone shaping the day's tools. Each deliberate strike, each careful flake, mirrored the patient, persistent effort that went into building a lasting bond, a partnership that promised mutual support and shared survival. It was a love built not on fleeting emotions, but on the solid bedrock of mutual need and respect. Section 4. Love among the shadows. But it wasn't easy. The shadow of danger was a constant companion, shaping every aspect of their existence, including their relationships. Life was a relentless struggle against the elements, against hunger, against the unseen threats lurking in the vast wilderness. Competition was real. The strongest, fastest, most capable often had the most admirers. This created a dynamic of subtle rivalry within the small tribal groups. That meant others had to wait, watch, learn. They had to hone their own skills, demonstrate their own value, hoping to eventually prove themselves worthy. Imagine a young hunter, practicing his aim tirelessly, driven not just by hunger, but by the desire to impress a specific gatherer whose quick wits and gentle touch he admired. Or a young woman meticulously crafting a new tool, knowing that her skill could provide comfort and sustenance for her kin, and perhaps draw the eye of a brave and dependable mate. There were also dangers. Leopards in the trees, infection from a bad cut, starvation after a bad hunt. These were not abstract threats, but tangible, immediate realities. Couples could be torn apart at any time. A sudden illness, a swift predator, or a failed foraging trip could sever a bond in an instant. There was no safety net, no hospital, no thinking space after a breakup. There was only presence or absence. The finality of loss was brutal, forcing those left behind to adapt quickly, to continue the struggle for survival. Imagine the raw grief. the profound emptiness left by a partner suddenly taken by the wilderness, and the courage it took to keep going, to find connection anew. Privacy? Nearly none. The tribe was a unit. Love grew under watchful eyes, in crowded spaces. Every interaction, every gesture of affection was observed by the collective. There was no secluded spot for a private conversation, no quiet corner for an intimate moment. Yet it persisted. This communal living fostered a different kind of intimacy, one based on shared vulnerability and mutual reliance. The tribe's well-being was paramount, and individual relationships contributed to that strength. Maybe because love wasn't a luxury, it was survival itself. If two people could function better together, they stayed together. A hunter and a gatherer, combining their skills, had a greater chance of securing food. Two strong individuals working in tandem could fend off threats more effectively. Love became a strategic alliance, a pragmatic partnership for navigating a perilous world. It was a commitment forged in the crucible of necessity, not just desire. Would you choose love if every day was a struggle to stay alive? Imagine sitting by the faint light of a communal fire with someone who had nothing left but still offered you half of their meager ration, a silent pledge of solidarity. Imagine waking up from a nightmare, the chilling screams of distant predators still echoing in your mind, only to find their hand gently finding yours in the darkness. A simple touch that spoke of unwavering presence and comfort. Love then was forged like stone, under pressure, with fire, and through time. It was hardened by adversity, shaped by mutual effort, and polished by the relentless passage of seasons. It was a love that understood the profound weight of commitment when life itself hung in the balance. A connection that was both a shield and a source of enduring strength. Section 5. The endless stars, again and so. Love in the Stone Age wasn't poetic, but it was powerful. It was raw. It was practical. It was brave. It wasn't about elaborate gestures or grand declarations, but about fundamental truths. It was about the tangible acts of care that meant the difference between life and death. It asked, "Can I carry the weight of your hunger? Can I offer you shelter in the storm? Will we face the saber-toothed future side by side?" These were the vows exchanged, not with words, but with actions, with sweat, and with the unwavering presence of one soul supporting another. It was a promise to endure, to survive, and to build a future together, no matter how uncertain that future might be. Imagine the quiet strength in accepting such a profound responsibility, knowing that another life depended on your vigilance and your commitment. Today, we swipe and scroll and ghost. Our connections are often fleeting, disposable, easily replaced by the next digital profile. We prioritize convenience, speed, and superficial perfection. But then, they offered food, warmth, time. These weren't commodities. They were life itself. They were the most precious gifts, freely given, binding souls in a way that modern society often struggles to replicate. The act of sharing, of providing comfort, of simply being present through the long, silent hours, spoke volumes. Maybe we've lost something. Or maybe, just maybe, it's still there, buried deep beneath our instincts, waiting. waiting for us to remember the fundamental human needs for connection, for authenticity, for presence. Waiting for someone to look at us with a gaze that lingers, like theirs did before fire. A gaze that sees beyond the superficial, into the resilient heart of another being. And when the stars stretched out across the sky, unbroken by city light, lovers didn't need words. Their closeness was enough. Their breath, their rhythm, the comfort of another heartbeat in the dark. It told them everything. It was a silent symphony of connection, a profound intimacy that transcended language. The vastness of the cosmos only amplified the preciousness of their shared human warmth. Imagine the primal comfort of huddling together under that endless canopy, feeling the steady rise and fall of a trusted chest, knowing you are not alone in the immense, silent world. It was a love forged not in declaration, but in shared existence. So tell me, if you had nothing, no phone, no song, no mirror, how would you show someone you cared? Would you share the last ember of your fire? What do you think fueled their courage in the dark? What inner strength allowed them to navigate a world of constant threat, to build connections, and to foster love amidst such profound challenges? Was it simply the drive for survival, or something more? Perhaps it was the knowledge that true survival wasn't just about individual strength, but about the collective bond, the warmth of shared purpose, and the profound, silent reassurance of another beating heart beside your own. Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories from the ancient past. Let's continue to explore the mysteries that lie just beyond the reach of recorded history, seeking echoes of our own humanity in the whispers of ages long past.